XCOM Enemy Unknown came out last October. This morning, Firaxis announced XCOM Enemy Within, a huge expansion launching for the title this November. Enemy Within is an expansion. It plays just like the main game, and you have your soldiers and you load them up and you send them out into battle and you fight aliens. It's kind of like what Firaxis is doing with Civilization 5, so it's like the Firaxising of XCOM.
Our games are very systemic, and we wanted to layer these really meaty gameplay elements on top of what we already had with Enemy Unknown. Everything was on the table. Do we want it to be after the events of Enemy Unknown? Do we want it to be a precursor before? And Ananda went in a room and said, we are going to insert it, which makes sense with the spirit of Firaxis and the same storyline, and add all these goodies, almost like the director's cut or the ultimate version of stuff that we didn't have time to add into Enemy Unknown.
There's two new soldier classes. You have this giant mech and then a genetically modified or Gmod soldier, and both of them can do things that other soldiers can't do. The mech, which is pretty awesome, has this attack called Kinetic Strike, and you can like punch. You can punch people off the map. Like, it's insanely powerful.
So you can choose to either build a gene lab or a cybernetics lab. And once you do that, then you can start going down this path of, I want to build and deck out my soldiers as mechs, or I want to genetically modify them. Or you can try to do both. But it's really cool. In the spirit of XCOM, there's not a black or white answer. You can sort of explore both paths and maybe not master either, or you can go hardcore down one path and have the most awesome mech that you can imagine.
So here's the thing. It's $30 on PC, $40 for the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions. Now, they're promising a ton of new stuff. New abilities, soldier classes, enemy types, items, attacks, all that stuff. And we saw some of that today, but there's a lot unannounced yet, so we don't know just how big it is. All we know is that they're saying it's big enough to warrant an expansion, but not a game sequel. But it's still too big to be DLC.
We were joking about it at the tail end of development for Enemy Within, and it truly does feel like XCOM 1.5. There is so much content. This is not just a few layers of DLC bundled together. I mean, in the spirit of the Firaxis Civilization, price points and content, it is totally in line with that, and I am extremely confident the fans will not be disappointed.